And now I'm moving forward with the editorial without the break because of the this delay with the microphone. So I will try to wrap up the whole live stream with the final reflection. So after everything we talked about tonight, we talked about jobs, uncertainty, AI, future anxiety, economic instability, music, nostalgia, psychology, and I think many people today are quietly experiencing something very similar emotionally. Not necessarily physical exhaustion, sometimes that too, but psychological uncertainty fatigue. The feeling that nothing feels fully stable anymore. And human beings were not designed to permanently live anticipating catastrophes. But modern life increasingly pushes people into exactly that state. Constant headlines about bad news, constant crisis, constant predictions, constant stimulation, constant comparison. And psychologically, many people begin living as if the future has already collapsed emotionally, even while sitting safely at home. And one thing I think people forget historically is that the future never fully felt safe. The 80s had Cold War fears, nuclear anxiety, economic uncertainty, and huge social changes as well. The 90s had recessions, rapid globalization, technological change, and cultural instability too. But what changed now is the speed. The, the nervous system no longer rests. People consume global anxiety continuously. And sometimes the mind begins confusing information with preparation. Psychologically, constant exposure to fear does not necessarily make people more prepared. Sometimes it simply makes them emotionally exhausted. So, this is one reason I think so many people still emotionally return to 80s and 90s music. Not simply because the past was perfect, because it wasn't, but because many songs from those decades still carried emotional rhythm, space, melody, atmosphere, patience, human texture, and modern life increasingly lacks rhythm. Everything became instant, fragmented, optimized, and very accelerated. And psychologically, human beings eventually begin feeling disconnected from themselves. And one of the biggest traps modern adults fall into is believing they must solve their entire future immediately. Their career, money, identity, relationships, purpose, retirement, housing, AI, everything. To solve all these things together today in 5 minutes or in an hour. And the nervous system simply cannot carry that permanently. So maybe what many people increasingly need now is not more stimulation, but more grounding, more real conversations, more good music, genuine friendship, small moments of community, reflection, and emotionally healthier rhythms. And that's partly why I wanted this show to exist. Not to be a therapy, not to be a fake positivity, a fake motivation, but simply a calmer human space. A space where music, psychology, reflection can coexist without constant screaming and outrage. So, one of the healthiest things people can remember today is this: uncertainty does not automatically mean hopelessness. The future may change dramatically. Jobs may change, technology may change, society may change, but human beings remain incredibly adaptable, and many people underestimate how resilient they actually are. Because survival psychologically is often not built through having perfect certainty, but through continuing despite uncertainty. Of course, it's not easy. Sometimes we cannot endure and we can fall and we can get defeated by the same pace of life, and that is normal, right? That's why I always remind you by the end of each episode to do what you can with what you have. That is the most that we can do. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. Oh, hey, Joan. We have Joan here in the chat. I don't know exactly when he wrote because I wasn't checking the. He sends greetings and we'll watch later. Thank you so much, Joan. I appreciate your comments and support to the channel. Thank you for passing by in the chat. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining in this live stream. I wish you have a really wonderful weekend. Remember to subscribe to the channel if this is the first time you found this channel. Like the live stream. Check out our community tab. You can post and initiate any conversation with other subscribers in the community tab.